Article 1 of our Constitution states that, quote, "The objective of the National Institute of Social Sciences shall be to promote the study of the social sciences and research therein, and to honor distinguished services rendered to humanity," unquote. The Gala is our opportunity to do the latter, but what we do to fulfill the former, well, one thing we have done for many years is to make direct, unrestricted grants to late-stage PhD candidates in the social sciences who need money to complete their dissertation research. This practice started some years back when Jonathan Peel, a former trustee and current chair of our grants committee, thank you, Jonathan, came up with the notion of a seed grant program to do this very thing. It was a big success and very popular with the National Institute membership. Initially, we gave out just one grant per year, but in the last few years, we have greatly expanded and professionalized the program. We now approach 50 or more highly ranked accredited universities per year in selected social science disciplines for candidate nominations. And from one winner each in 2020 and prior years, we've expanded our grant activity to 2 grants last year and 5 this year. Thank you. All of which are substantial, unrestricted grants to help highly qualified PhD candidates pursue their dissertations in topics that promise to add substantially to their scholarly fields. All these nominations are reviewed and evaluated by the volunteer members of the National Institute's Grants Committee, and all are funded by the generous donations of our members and trustees, as well as the general public. Newly rechristened the Dissertation Grant Program, this activity is our flagship grant-making initiative, and we are looking forward to continuing and expanding it in the future. To give you an idea of the kinds of candidates who win and the type of research we support, I'd like to give you a quick preface of this year's 5 dissertation grant winners. Cameron McAllister is a doctoral candidate in sociology at the University of Kentucky. His dissertation examines deaths of despair, elevated suicides, and drug and alcohol-related mortalities among working-class residents in rural areas. His project seeks to understand how deaths of despair result from historical patterns of economic turbulence and resource deprivation. The 2022 dissertation grant will allow Cameron to attend workshops on spatiotemporal data analysis and to present at conferences to disseminate his findings. Brooke McKenna is a doctoral candidate in the clinical psychology program at Emory University. Brooke's research centers on understanding when and how varying forms of adversity, ranging from childhood trauma to systemic inequality, confer risk for psychological disorders. For her dissertation, Brooke will examine biological factors that may identify and protect against the intergenerational impact of stress and adversity among Black American women and children. Brooke will use her 2022 dissertation grant to acquire the sophisticated data gathering and analysis tools required for her research. Nick Rodrigo is a doctoral candidate in sociology at the Graduate Center in the City University of New York, where he is currently writing his PhD thesis entitled "Wielding the Border: A Genealogy of U.S.-Mexico Borderland Practices and the Purposes They Serve from Conquest to Today." By utilizing a robust theoretical lens, archival research, and qualitative investigation in the U.S.-Mexico borderlands, Nick will trace how the practice of bordering has evolved and its role in racial capitalism and the expansion of the security state. The 2022 dissertation grant will support his ethnographic fieldwork and interviews for his research. Jessica Shermer is a doctoral candidate in sociology at the University of California, Berkeley. She studies social policy and inequality in the United States. Her dissertation explores the growing need for affordable housing and the loss of reform momentum in federal housing and urban development policy since the 1970s. She traces the development of federal housing policy debates in the 20th century involving policymakers, economists, and the private sector. The 2022 dissertation grant will support Jessica's follow-up visits to presidential archives as well as conference travel. Finally, we have with us tonight the last of our 2022 dissertation grant winners, Betsy Prime. Betsy is a doctoral candidate in sociology at the University of Chicago who specializes in environmental and urban sociology. Her research focuses on climate governance with an emphasis on the processes of adaptation policy and environmental justice. For her dissertation, Betsy examines a specific climate adaptation strategy known as managed retreat to investigate how and why local communities and governments select certain adaptation strategies over others. The 2022 dissertation grant will support Betsy's ethnographic fieldwork and interviews for her research. The National Institute is very proud of Betsy and all the 2022 dissertation grant winners, and we expect great things from them in the future. Let's give them all a big round of applause, shall we? Thank you. Now, Betsy and the other dissertation grant winners are living examples of the direct support the National Institute provides to effect our mission to support and encourage the study of the social sciences. Over the life of the program, the National Institute has given approximately $100,000 in direct unrestricted grants to these 12 worthy scholars, some of whom may very well become gold medal honorees themselves in the future. This support comes directly from you, our guests, and from our members and our trustees. If you'd like to help us in this program and expand our direct grant activities, we would welcome your support.